Welcome back to another episode of Talking Tarkov. I'm the EarLegAthlete here with,
Hey Dizzle.
and today we're going to take a look at the new arena map teaser, check out the Labyrinth event stats, the new NIKILEAK, and more. Be sure to like and let us know your thoughts on these topics in the comments. Let's go ahead and get right into it. So I guess with it being late wipe currently, I've been doing more arena, so maybe I'm just seeing it more now. And I know arena's kind of always had an issue, but the cheating problem over there is pretty substantial. Like
Yeah.
it seems like I'm running into them a lot.
No, it's a real thing. It's a problem Marina's always had. I feel like at least one out of every like 3 to 4 matches I would see a blatant cheater.
Yeah, it's pretty. I'd say that's pretty close, pretty accurate. I had a guy. He had, I think it was high 30s, low 40s in kills, and he had hit nothing but headshots on a last check, or on last check, checkpoint match.
Yeah.
It was just, and it was blatant. Like he was just running around, single tapping everybody, burning everyone down,
Right.
quick as could be. Like there was no.
Yeah,
He
that's
only
the real
had a
way to
handful of
check.
deaths too. It was just a couple of deaths, and it's just like there's no way because like everybody else that's playing is doing decent. Not everybody, but we
Right.
got our players that are like in the 20s and stuff like that. He just had so many kills, and his deaths were so low, and it was just obvious
Well, and headshots are the way to tell because if a person is getting nothing but headshots,
over and
it's like
over and over.
obviously
Yeah,
yeah, obviously a cheater can kill you without getting a headshot, but everybody in Tarkov knows the weakest part of a person is their head. The
yeah, it's the
easiest way to take
fastest
someone down
damage.
is
Yeah,
their head. So if
you
you
only need
have the ability
35.
to hit somebody wherever you want, like it's a computer doing the aiming for you, then you're going to hit headshots. And I've seen so many people run
Now,
around
if you're
and get
closeted
like,
about it, that's a little bit
well,
different,
yeah,
right?
yeah, but
But
that's
the
what I was getting
blatant
into.
guys are,
But the blatant, yeah, I've seen
yeah,
so many blatant cheaters where it's like 90% of their kills are headshots, and it's just in arena that's not the norm because obviously
it
you
is
play
not.
with plenty of other people. You will notice majority of everyone's stats are pretty similar, and
Yeah,
then you'll see one person that just jumps out, and it's
right.
like okay, that's when you can be pretty sure it's a cheater. But
And
then
there
there
are
are
those
also
guys.
closeted cheaters, like you said.
Yeah,
Um,
absolutely.
but it's not as easy to tell with those guys,
Right,
especially
because
with
they're
hit registration problems and desync. Like you don't really know what's causing issues and what's not. But with the headshot thing, there's just no way around that. That's more
yeah,
often than
it's
not, that's
it's
for sure a cheater.
yeah, entirely too obvious. And like I've had several interactions or matches with people who I was like that person's suspect, like I don't know if they are, but they definitely seem like they are have some sort of advantage that most players don't. It just seemed it was suspect enough to question, but it wasn't outright calling them cheaters because it's not
Right.
something I like to throw around lightly, even just like accusing someone in private. So it's like I don't if I can't say 100% that person was cheating without seeing proof that that person was cheating, I say they're just better than me, and I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah, because that
um,
does happen too. There are really good players, and I try to balance, especially when I'm going to accuse somebody. I try to make sure that I think about it, from all angles. Like, what's the possibility that you know this
my
other
hits
thing could
weren't
be happening?
registering. We had
Yeah,
desync
yeah. I just
issues. That guy's just
I'm not
better. Like,
quick to accuse anybody. You know what I mean? So
right.
it's like I make
It's got
sure
to
I
be undeniable.
thoroughly. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I look at all possibilities before and then once you see that all their kills are headshots and they're not dying ever, it's like
Crazy high
that's a
stats,
good.
very low deaths.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
that's a very good indicator that and they're just running around from spot to spot, not taking any cover, not you can tell when someone just knows that
abusing the
you're
spawn
around.
mechanics. Yeah, and
Yeah,
they're just flying
they
around the
know where
map to
you're
kill
at.
everything and everyone. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's there are ways to tell. There absolutely are. But I think a lot of the players and this isn't just in Tarkov, this is in every game. And we all know it. We all have that one friend who just no matter when they die, how they die, who they die to, he's fucking
oh
cheating.
yeah,
Like there's always
yeah,
that guy. Times 100,000 to a million, like however many gamers are in the world, like there's always
right.
one or two of those. And then there's people that just don't know how to spot the differences and like actually tell. Like aside from the blatantly obvious stuff. So a lot of times,
Well,
desync happens and they're like, "Oh, how is he not outside? Like he was outside the door and then he was in the door." Like
right,
well,
right.
That's
Or like he
server
couldn't
side
even see
stuff.
me. Like I'd already went back. Like there's no way he could have seen me there. And it's like, well, on
Yeah,
your screen, yeah, maybe not, but on his screen, you were standing right there in the doorway.
right.
But especially in Tarkov, where it's already a very hard game, you have a lot of people want to blame other things for their deaths. Um, like it happens in all games, but I feel like Tarkov is just like
Yeah,
especially,
like you said, as hard as Tarkov is, just to survive a
yeah.
raid when everything goes right. So yeah,
Well,
absolutely.
and I think Arena's so bad because obviously, say you're playing just a last hero match, you got what, like 12 people, 12 solo
Depends on the
players,
map.
all of you. Yeah, but just say you got 12 solo players, all of you sitting there fighting. So just that one match, you're matched up against, say, 11 other solo players. If you play Escape from Tarkov, it's going to take you probably 4 or 5 raids to have like an equal amount of
Yeah,
fighting that many people. You know what I mean? Like you might see 3 players one match, then 4 the next, and then 3 the next. You know what I mean? So it might take you 3 to 4 raids before you see that many players again. So
right.
I think because you're throwing everybody in one match, it makes the cheating seem way worse on Arena when it's probably similar on both.
I would say
It's
it's a
just
yeah.
yeah. I feel like if you're cheating in Arena, you're probably cheating in Tarkov,
Yeah,
and
I
vice
don't think
versa.
it's like Arena has a completely separate player base, which it does have a separate player base, but they all play
Yeah,
Tarkov, I think.
right,
And
right.
I don't think that there's like cheaters coming specifically to cheat in Arena. Now, top
Well,
50 and pro situations, I'm not speaking on that because I don't know, I don't cover it, I don't watch it, I don't really care too much about Tarkov Arena competitive.
yeah.
I think it's cool, I think it's interesting, but to me, it's just another Call of Duty situation. Um,
We're talking about
so
just casual playing, just playing
yeah, just
normal
playing, getting on Arena.
PvP target, or PvP arena, like
Yeah,
just normal interactions.
yeah,
Um, but I just want to point that out because I know a lot of people jump to the conclusion like, oh, arena is full of hackers. And it's easy to think that, but like I said, when you actually sit back and think about it, you see so many more players in one round of arena than you do in 2 to 3 raids of Tarkov. Um, it's just the fights are so often. That's all you're doing in arena. While in regular Tarkov, you'll go some raids without even seeing somebody. So it throws everybody together. You're forced to see everybody, so the cheaters stand out a lot more.
yeah. It really is. And then you start getting in not just in Last Hero, but Checkpoint and everything else too. Yeah. It and the matches are faster, right? You're seeing 10, 20, 30 times the amount of people,
Yeah,
just account
yeah,
wise, like that you would see in a day of playing, and then than you would playing regular Tarkov. So it does seem like you said, it does make it seem more severe, but at the same time, it's probably pretty close. I would imagine
yeah.
so. Yeah.
I would imagine it. It might be a little more in arena, but I would imagine it's somewhat similar.
Well, and we don't know. They haven't given us like band wave numbers on Arena. They haven't given it like we can see the player base, we can see the top 50, but outside of that, they took the public leaderboard down because it had a bunch of issues with cheating and stuff. It like there were people with
Yeah,
crazy high KDs and shit.
yeah.
So it's there's some unknown areas with Arena, and it's just kind of hard to tell right now. But I would it
Well,
might be a little bit more, but I don't think it's some drastically high difference between Arena to EFT like you
no,
stated. I think it's just that there's you're getting through those matches faster. You're seeing more players at once. You're seeing more accounts in a day. So yeah, if
yeah,
there's 20 people cheating on your server and there's 100 of you all playing, 1 in 4, you're gonna run into a couple of them. It's like
right.
so. Yeah, I
And you
think
could have
it's
the same exact amount on regular Escape from Tarkov, and you might never see those guys. Like
yeah. I
that's
mean, how
just
often do you just hear shots and never see what came
right.
from it? It's
Or how often does a cheater just go in, grab all the valuables, kill everybody he sees, and then just gets out? You know what I mean? Like
yeah, absolutely.
you'll probably run through and find a bunch of dead bodies, but you're not even going to see the guy, so you'll have no idea that there was a cheater in that lobby. Um, so it just goes to show you how throwing everybody together in one round, it makes it seem like there's more cheaters, but you're up front. You have no other place to go. Like there's no way to get around it. You see everybody in arena, so it just it makes you see every cheater that there is. Like you can't get away from it. If there's a cheater, you're going to see him. There's just no other way around it. while in Tarkov, there's plenty of ways to miss the cheaters.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. On the topic of arena cheaters and just cheating in general, I found while going through a Reddit thread a comment that says Nikita likes cheaters. He talked about it at length, how it's sorry, bad spelling on their behalf. He talked about it at length, how is worth keeping them around. This is why Tarkov and Arena are overrun with cheaters, and they do nothing about it because he thinks it's a way to make people spend more money. Um, we do have the transcript here from what Nikita said.
And just to throw this out real quick, this is back when Nikita was the CEO of Absolute Soft, not Battlestate Games. This is before Tarkov. This is before BSG. This is when Contract Wars was the game they had out. And this is a video of Nikita addressing other gaming publishers, other
Yes.
gaming companies.
Right.
This is him addressing
the industry as it is,
yeah,
and as it was in
2015, yeah.
Yeah, 2015. So here is Nikita, right? That is Nikita. That'll help you guys kind of date how old this is. This is young Nikita, going way back in the archives.
Young and plump Nikita.
I'm not gonna read through this entire paragraph situation here. Question was something about, I don't know if the question was actually listed. And now you see Nikita Boyanov, CEO of Absolute Soft, and he will tell us. And then Nikita starts talking. By the way, about cheaters, I would like to tell you something, but it will be surely, am I recorded or no? Then I won't say. But cheaters are, yeah. So it is a serious issue that works always in two ways. For me, it was a revelation, and how to estimate them, it is up to you. But if there are thousands of cheaters, this will raise the donations in the game, because cheaters will lead to distressing every other player. And the main rule to lead players to donations, you have to have every player in distress. What he's saying there is, if you have thousands of cheaters in a game and those cheaters are shit stomping all your players, how do you let your players even that playing field? You give them a battle pass with a shit ton of guns and new blueprints and ways to, be as good as the cheaters and this, that, and the other.
Yeah, you
but
just
in reality,
can buy weapons and ammo, and you just give them ways to buy the best of the best.
Because if they don't know that every single person they're dying to is cheating, they're going to feel like they suck and everyone is better. And if they think they suck and everyone is better, and they see everyone that they're dying to and playing against or with that's also getting wrapped up into the same shit, has all those maxed out BP rewards and bought the best gun blueprint, they go spend money on the best gun blueprint. And as long as Tarkov has been around, there's never been that kind of stuff. And I want to stress that Nikita is not talking about Tarkov. If he even mentions his game, and I don't think he does here, this is when he was working for a game that's on like Russian Facebook.
Yeah.
This was him as CEO of Absolute Soft, not tied to Battlestate Games. Well, not Battlestate Games, not Escape from Tarkov, Contract Wars, right? This was Contract.
This was Contract.
Was this Contract Wars? Okay.
Yeah. Because
okay,
Contract
Wars
was
before.
It was originally a browser game
that
right. started on Russian Facebook.
Yeah. Okay. So when a Contract Wars first came out, so he was comparing the state of the industry and how it works and what we were getting ourselves into and exactly how Call of Duty is now. Not saying that he wants, his game to be full of cheaters. Because a lot of this has been misconstrued and just twisted and disfigured as much as possible to make it sound as bad as possible. Yeah. Well, and it's still hard to do because people, if you just listen and read and think about it, it's pretty obvious. It's pretty blatant what he's saying.
We both went through all of it before this just to make sure, we got a good idea of what he was really saying. And it is translated from Russian, so there are chances that some of it is not correct, but it's basically him coming out saying this is the way that cheating is affecting gaming right now.
And how devs are working with it.
Yeah, and this is how, him saying the one thing where you want your players to be, how did he word it? You wanted your players to be
in distress. You want them worried and thinking they suck, essentially. You want if they think they suck, they spend the money because they see everyone else having it and they still suck, right? So they spend more
basically
money.
He was saying a player is going to spend money if they're in distress. If they feel like there's a level that they aren't at yet, but they want to reach, they will pay money to get to that next level. That's the distress. They
Yeah.
feel like there's something unobtainable to them right now, but there is a way to get to it.
Well,
And
the
that's him
transcript
saying,
continues, and it kind of explains what you. It kind of explains it a little
yeah,
bit.
yeah.
It says just because the player would realize, oh shit, he buys everything he can because he thinks he can punish the cheater, but no, and that's that's kind of where it comes down to. Um,
Right.
so
But it's
yeah,
basically him
it's
saying that it's not like his end game goal for his games. He's just explaining that that's what the gaming industry is becoming. And he's
yeah,
kind of just putting it out there saying this is what it'll cause. You'll gain money in the short term, but it's a dead end situation, an issue that will continue to, hurt the game in the long run. He basically says it's not something that could be sustainable. It is something that's profitable, but
right.
he even talks about how when they started banning cheaters, a lot of those were their top players, and a lot of those were the people who,
They were
were
donators.
causing other people. Yeah, they were
Yeah,
not only were they
donators
donating, but they
with
were causing other
thousands of
people to
hours in the
donate.
game.
So he was just pointing out the problem, and a lot of people have mistakenly represented that he was saying that's how you should
He
run a
wants that
game,
in
or
the
that's
game.
how
That's what it should be.
yeah.
Yeah, when
But
it's
then,
the
like you
exact
said earlier,
opposite.
well, the biggest thing is what he's saying is exactly what games like Arena Breakout did, and
Right, right.
they came out free to play, but they allowed you to buy anything and everything in the game for real money. Like you didn't have good ammo, good armor, good guns, pay $10 and you can buy the top stuff, the best of the best. There's no limit. There's no, you know, line that you can't cross. Like you can get the best of the best. That's basically what he's saying is cheaters are just going to make more people buy the best of the best. And for the people saying that's what he did, that's the exact opposite of what Tarkov has been. Tarkov, you have not been able to just buy the best of the best. Now, there were RMT problems, but they took steps to, even some would say they took too many steps to
Yeah,
alleviate the
yeah,
RMT.
absolutely. It's caused
Yeah, I
some
was gonna say a
stress
lot
in
of
the
people
gameplay loop,
complain.
but it's for the
Yeah,
best, right?
you can't bring your buddies like whole kits in anymore. You can't do like viewer kits. You can't like bring stems in and drop them. Like that is to fight RMTing. So you can't even say that, RMTing was what he was talking about. It
Yeah,
just,
no, it's and
if
they've
anybody reads that and sees Tarkov, it's just, I don't understand it because it's the exact opposite of what Tarkov became. Like everything there that would have made money, they went the opposite route. So I just don't understand where people get,
right.
I just don't get it.
Yeah, but that's what I was saying though too. Is it's so many players, especially those that don't want Tarkov to succeed or they dislike Tarkov for whatever reason. They're gonna read chunks of that. They're gonna already misconstrue it in their mind as they're reading it because they think negatively and they're thinking that it is something bad and that he is saying this already because their friend sent him it and they're like, look, Nikita says cheaters rule, so it's like, oh, this son of a and they just read this, that, and the other pieces of it, and then they kind of put their spin on it and their thought process to it. They just don't do it rationally, and unfortunately, there are far too many thinkers that think that way, and that's more of a societal issue and not anything we can really address.
Well,
But
and everybody wants to find,
the
like,
juice, yeah,
yeah, it's like, oh, well, here's proof, here's proof that this makes this, it's for sure. This is what they're doing. And I got, it's understandable because a lot of people without looking into it would see this and probably be like, oh yeah, it does make sense. You know what I mean? Like,
well, think about all the people that also just read a headline, right?
exactly.
And they're like, okay,
Yeah,
that's all I need to
even
know.
this
It's
headline,
confirmed.
even
Yeah.
yeah, even this headline, the guy who posted this on Reddit, this was on the Escape from Tarkov Reddit, and it straight up says probably that is the reason why there's so many of them in Tarkov, saying that's why there's so many cheaters.
Yeah.
But if you go on to actually read the transcript, it's kind of exact opposite.
It says the opposite of that.
Yeah.
And it's obvious that it says the opposite of that. But
and you got to remember who he's speaking to. He's not speaking to his dev studio. Like, this is what we got to do. He's speaking to other developers and other people.
yeah, this
like
is
I
at
see there's MSI there in the background. There's
this is
like
at DevGame Conference 2015.
yeah. So this is just the gaming industry, and
Yeah.
he's just speaking like as to one of the problems. He even calls it a problem. He
Right.
says it's a problem.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's easy to, I guess, misconstrue it if you're wanting to be, you're wanting to just straight up lie about it. And, it's easy to get people to believe that, it's something nefarious. But if you actually do read it, it's actually just insightful, like just a look inside of what gaming development is becoming.
Yeah.
And it's true. There's
It
just,
is. It is.
everything he said is true.
The unfortunate side of that is that I feel some game studios know that's exactly what the problem is and
Oh,
are
absolutely.
perfectly okay with it
Absolutely.
because it's not a problem for their monetary gains. And I
Well, and I
mean
think
that's business, so I can't really be mad at that. But I think if the communities as a whole would just say, you know what, we're kind of tired of it. Let's just have even killed shooters again, where it's skill based and you don't have to rely on spending buku bucks to feed some wallet. I don't know. I have weird opinions
but
on monetary or monetization in video games and stuff, anyways. So
that's even what he's saying though, is he's saying, I'm pretty sure he's saying, it's where he's saying it's a double-sided issue. It's double-sided because development, or
needs
should
money.
say,
Yeah,
yeah, the publishers want money coming in, so they're going to want the developers to implement features that bring in more money. So it's like
right,
you're incentivized to get the money, aka donations, as he calls them in this. You're
right.
incentivized to do that as a dev studio by your publisher. So it's like that's where the problem comes in, because you're going to have so many companies that are just looking at the profit. They don't care how you get there. And Nikita's saying, unfortunately, this is a way to get profit, or a way to hurt getting profit. If you ban all your cheaters, you can lose all your profit for your game.
Right.
So not only do you lose your game from banning cheaters, but you also lose your ability to make future games. You might lose your whole dev company. You might lose
Yeah,
everybody.
you don't
It's
know
just
what whale that's supporting you is also running cheats. It's
right.
like
Yeah.
you never know.
It's a
So
very
slippery
real look
slope. It's
at
a
the
very
problems.
yeah,
Yeah, the
absolutely. This is
problems.
absolutely true. It is a very
Yeah,
real
and
look at it.
this is all the way back
Back in
9 years ago.
2015, yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
it's 2025. This is well, I guess depending on when it was posted. Yeah,
yeah, 10 years ago, basically. Because yeah, this was
yeah.
before, and Battle State Games was founded in what, 2016. So yeah, this is,
16 or 17, yeah.
I
I
think it
think it
was
was
16.
16.
Yeah, I think it was
Yeah.
16. Yeah, so yeah, this is 10 years ago.
Yeah,
So
that's
it's
crazy.
just,
And I mean, there's studios that have milked it for that long and it's just like
yeah,
I don't know.
absolutely.
It's so weird to me. It blows my mind. There's games I flat out will not play and have left playing. I've probably brought it up before, but like Destiny 1 into Destiny 2, two completely different games, and D2 is like let me have all your money where D1 was like enjoy our fucking work.
Yeah,
Um
that's what worries me about Marathon, is I feel like
yeah.
they're going to
Yeah.
want you to buy it, and then
Continue
every three
buying
months they're going
packs
to have
and
huge DLCs, yeah, that are going to be
yeah.
like $60, $70
Yeah.
expansions. And
Yeah, I'm not a fan of that kind of stuff. So I just flat out won't play them. I don't play Call of Duty pretty well for those reasons. It just feels so intrusive and wrong
yeah,
to me. But I mean, again, I know I'm kind of a one off in that because like most people are like, whatever, dude, it doesn't matter. But yeah,
yeah, I mean, there's people like, there's a large amount of people on both sides of it. You have your guy who, does his 9 to 5, comes home and just wants to play with his friends, so
yeah,
he doesn't care. You know what I
plays
mean?
what's
He'll buy a
popular.
few, yeah, he'll buy a few whatever's like gun packs or camos, or whatever it is they're selling. He'll buy them just to have them, and play with his mates and have a good time. And then you
Right.
got your people who stream all day every day, and it's like, well, those people, they can unlock everything just by playing. They don't have to buy stuff, but they already get the stuff for free anyways. It just shows there's so many different cogs going on, and like
It is.
the whole gaming community. Like it's got so many different just problems and things that make it, good for some people, bad for others. And it's just, it's a difficult thing to grasp and really understand.
Well, yeah, and that's
Harder than most people think.
I think that's why it kind of like this is probably also off topic, but I think it's why there are so many genres of games, and inside those genres of games, there's like subsects to it, and then it even breaks down further because there's like free to play, and then there's paid with no pay to win mechanics, or free to play with free to play or pay to win mechanics, and like all these different things. So it's like essentially you end up playing whatever genre you like, action RPGs. You either play Diablo or you play Path of Exile, right? So it's like, and they both have things about them that people like and dislike. So it's just like this great balancing amongst all of gaming of just trying to find the right fits for everyone that enjoys playing that type. And it's insane that gaming has become what it is today, in my
Well,
opinion, compared to what it used
yeah,
to be
it
when you and
is.
I were younger.
Well,
Um,
and at the end of the day, I think a lot of people just lose track of the bottom. Like, there's one thing that every company starts making a game for, and that's for profit. All this is for money. All these companies are trying to turn profits.
yeah,
Like, it's easy to lose sight of that. That, obviously there's going to be some really bad practices that are, adopted over, a long term
we have had court
cycle of
cases over
creating.
loot
And
boxes and gambling in
yeah,
video
yeah,
games because of
yeah. There's
how
always going to be
predatory
bad
it
stuff.
was. Yeah,
Yeah, and there's different tiers. You have your top dogs who own everything that are paying people to make these games. They're the ones giving the direction as to where the game's going. It's not the developers. Majority of the time, the developers are following directions. They just know how to
yeah,
make the stuff.
yeah,
So there's usually the guys closest to the gaming industry are the developers, but most of the time they don't have full control over what happens. So it's like it's just so hard to be able to talk to like an owner or
right.
the CEO of a publishing group and explain to them like what they're
What
doing
the
to the
issues
game.
are
Like,
and what's happening
yeah,
to the
yeah, it's
community and the
it's
player
just such a
bases, and
disconnect
yeah, yeah, absolutely.
because all
Well, I
they're
think
worried
that's
about is their
the
shareholders.
bottom
Like
line,
their
their shareholders
yeah,
and their
their
profits at the
shareholders
end of
want
the
to see
year. Yeah,
profit. You see these scummy practices that you're doing are turning the best profit. Well, then you're just going to keep doing it because you don't care. You don't even hear the player base.
well,
All you're answering to is the shareholders.
I think that's why so many indie studios are doing so well these days. But I know that
Yeah,
a large chunk of the player base, not everybody, obviously, and even those players that are like, I'm tired of it. They, like you said, their friends play, they're gonna play.
yeah,
They may not spend money on the game, but they still put time into it, and that's okay. But
yeah. And you only have so many options. You know what I mean?
right,
Like
you are
it's
limited,
not like you
especially if
can.
you're in
Right,
certain genres that you and your friends like to play.
right.
But yeah, it's just like I think it's fair that indie studios are popping up and really starting to like do some good because I'm tired of the AAA half a game now. Sometimes not even half a game now. You get like a portion of the game now and then a chunk later, and then
Yeah,
here's the final end of the story, but we changed everything and we did this and it's way more expensive. It's just like that's crazy. I had to buy the game 3 times to get through a 4 hour story. Um, stuff like that. It's just egregious and predatory. And but it's nice that there's indie companies and dev teams like one man studios for like Schedule One and things like that that are still care enough to really try to dig into the gaming industry and plant their flag
well, it's
and
like
do their
yeah,
thing
and they
now.
don't have to answer. You know what I mean? They don't have to
Yeah,
answer to
exactly. It's
anyone. So
great.
it's
It's
like
beautiful.
they
Yeah,
can. But what does suck though is it seems like more often than not a big company ends up buying them out,
and then it's
and
over.
then
Yeah.
yeah, and then they ruin the
Yeah.
game, and then like 3 years later you'll hear from the original creators of
Yeah, the
whatever,
original
like this.
creators of
Yeah,
that tells
it's
you to
like
stay
now
the
they have
fuck
a new
away
game
from
coming
it.
out.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's like
Yeah,
the
but
original
yeah,
creators
it's
of Hell Let Loose. Like Hell Let Loose was a pretty gritty, realistic,
yeah.
awesome game,
Yeah, that shit was cool.
and then it got monetized and it got split up into DLCs and this and that.
Right.
But it's like now the original creators of it are coming out with a new extraction shooter called Hunger.
Okay.
It looks awesome. It
Yeah.
looks really
I'll have to
awesome.
check it out. Yeah.
Yeah, you really should because it's different. It's kind of like a mix of, I would say a mix of Tarkov, probably Tarkov with Hunt Showdown.
Okay.
It looks awesome.
Yeah,
It's
yeah, that
definitely
sounds
different.
cool. That sounds interesting for
Yeah,
sure. We'll
but
definitely look into it.
you'll get companies like that their original idea was great, and then once it got bought out, that just kind of loses. And they have to get bought out because they don't have the money to sustain long term. You know what I mean? Long term development cycles. So of course they sell out so they can have money so they can start a new project. So
Right.
it's
Yeah.
just it just keeps happening over and over and over, and it's all about
Yeah.
money.
Yeah, even for the projects that don't start as money hungry, they're building it because like they were tired of the game they were playing. Like, Matt had talked about it a couple times. Like, he's like, I play a lot
Yeah.
of Rust and I'm wanting to build a game that's similar to Rust, but a little bit different. And it's like, okay, so and that's a passion project. But as soon as it's done and if it takes off and it does well or whatever, you know what I mean, and the money's there, like who would say no to that? And you can't fault the developers for wanting that money. It's just the way that
No, that's what they're in it
big
for.
AAA studios, it's what those guys do to the games after the fact.
Yeah.
That's the big issue, and
When when the passion's
that's the
gone and it's
problem.
all just monetized, that's when it
Yeah,
seems to really
and it's a
kill
shame
things off.
because yeah, exactly, it kills games. It is unfortunate because there's been a lot of really good titles that have been just thrown to the wayside because they've been over monetized or
Yeah,
underappreciated and not taken care of and not updated. There's
they
reasons.
basically squeeze the life out of the game by trying to over monetize it all so fast. It just kills the game off. When in
Yeah,
reality, most of those companies probably would have been better off just sustaining a high player base and adding small little incremental updates that had, a little money for them to make along the way.
yeah,
It's like it just feels like it would earn them the same amount of money without killing off all the games and gaining such bad reputations.
yeah. I
Um,
agree.
but like we said, it's all about the money that you can make right now. Like that's all the people care about that are investors in the company. They just want to
Yeah.
see more positive,
Made 10 mil
gains on their
last year, let's
investment.
go for 12 this
Yeah,
year. That's all they give a
yeah.
shit about.
If you made 10 last year, then
Why can't you
10.5
make
is not
20
acceptable
or
this year.
yeah,
You
right.
got to double that, triple that. Like,
Yeah.
and it
And the
just
one year
eventually
that
you
you
just
do double it, you're
completely.
gonna be expected to double it every year. So it can be very stressing and weight and it puts some weight on those guys too. I don't want to act like it doesn't. Granted, they are loaded. It shouldn't be an issue, but it
Yeah,
still puts a weight on the studio. And the problem is that if the studio doesn't meet the numbers, the dev team's fired, right? Like, and all the
right.
guys that are important to the project are gone.
Yeah.
And that usually sucks. So it's like
Yeah,
it's horrible
the OG
the way it
devs
is.
team and the player base are the ones who lose out because the investors will, once they kill the game off, they'll just invest in another game, like because they have the money to just keep doing it over and over and
Yeah,
over,
as
squeeze
long
as
as
much
it's
profit as
yeah.
they can, and then just move on. And then
We
the
could
people who really had like passion for the project, they have to move on to something else because they sold their licensing and all their artwork
yeah,
and all
yeah,
their
it's unfortunate.
game tactics, and yeah, it's just a bad thing that Nikita was speaking on, just some of that and how that is going to affect the industry. And basically, we were just wanting to show how a lot of people have taken that and just misrepresented over the years, like what he was saying with it, when in reality, he was speaking nothing but truth. He was just saying that's how it is.
Right, exactly. Yeah. It's just unfortunately the way
It
people are
is.
these days. It's
Player bases are nervous, you know what I mean? And they have right to be because of so many things that have happened. Like we have been talking about, so many games that have lost their way and ended up
yeah,
becoming something
yeah,
completely opposite of what they were in the beginning. So people are nervous about that. Every time they find something they like, they feel like it's going to go that direction. So, and that's understandable. It's no excuse to make things up and just, add that onto any and every game that you play and say that they're all doing it. Like that's not fair, but it's understandable. I get why people get there. I understand how people get to that point.
and after everything players have been through year after year after year with all these different titles,
Yeah.
having that situation happen to them too, it's easy to be reserved about it. Yeah. I just
Yeah,
as
it's
anytime we talk about this stuff, I always say this: the best thing you can do is when you hear something, look it up, read up on it a little bit. It takes you 5 minutes to find the information typically, and just learn if they're accurate or if it's just blatantly wrong. You don't have to be an asshole about it. You don't have to be like, "Oh, excuse me, but this is actually," but just use your noodle and think for yourself and find what's actually happening and what's actually going on. This took Adam a couple minutes to find this thread to
yeah,
get the
just a couple
actual
minutes.
transcript so we could know for sure what was happening and what was being said because the other videos we'd clicked on had been edited and chopped up to misconstrue the wordage. So it's
Yeah,
always
yeah,
one of those things you want to do your research on. Find the
yeah.
information yourself and just go from there. Anyways, we can move on to the next thing. Arena cheaters, it's a problem. Tarkov, it's a problem. Cheaters in gaming, it's a problem, right?
Yep.
Uh,
Yep. It's a problem. It's not
yeah.
fixed. I don't think it's going to be fixed anytime soon.
We could talk about it every time we do these over and over
Yep.
for hours. And unfortunately, not a lot's going to change. It's a cat and mouse game.
Yep.
So the new arena map, we got an arena map teaser. What they call it? Iceberg, I believe.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. We
It
got a
looks
few
really good.
screenshots. It does look really clean. I almost, especially on this last picture, I really hope that we get to see this in EFT. Like it's
That looks like an
hopefully
EFT
attached.
location.
It does, dude. It
It
feels like
looks,
it.
yeah. Yeah, it looks like an EFT location.
It's really fleshed out. It looks like there's so much more attached to it. You know what? Actually, well, no, probably not. Unless that's looking back. I was kind of thinking this could be on Shoreline at Terminal, but maybe
I was
not.
too, because it kind of looks like,
Shoreline in the background, like across the
yeah.
river. Yeah.
And I'm thinking, like, it would make sense if a lot of these places that they have been putting in from for Arena, because if you think about when they first had Arena come out, all the maps that they used for Arena were parts of existing EFT maps. Like they used,
Yeah.
that parts of woods and customs and like it was something that you could go to in EFT.
Exactly.
And I feel like anything new that wasn't from EFT was probably something that's eventually going to be on EFT. So a lot of these newer maps from Arena could be parts of Terminal
They could
that
be,
we just haven't seen yet.
There's a few other map locations that are quote unquote coming to EFT and DLCs and stuff like that. So
Right.
I could see it, just them working on it, get a chunk of it ready, it's playable, throw it in Arena, might as well. It
But a
doesn't hurt
couple of
anything.
them have looked like Shoreline / Terminal.
Yeah, this
a couple of the
one,
locations have been like on like pier areas or like right on the beach, or you've seen
right?
like water surrounding. And so yeah, it wouldn't surprise me if this is something, because that looks
Attached
awful
to,
lot. Yeah, that looks an awful
yeah.
lot like more of a Tarkov map than an Arena map.
Here's another two pictures from it, but this is what threw me off, was the second set of pictures. This looks more like Lighthouse now. But obviously it
Well,
would be, if it's the reworked Lighthouse that we haven't seen yet, that was the only thought I had.
I was
But
going to
this
say
could be like
also
a bunker on Shoreline.
you got to remember Lighthouse and Shoreline are right beside each other.
That's true.
So
They are connected.
they are connected.
Yeah, that's
So very
absolutely
well could
true.
be
Yeah, it could be
new
a middle
areas.
zone, yeah.
Yeah.
And then there's this better look at it. The
Yeah, that
reason I
looks
thought
awesome.
this would be Terminal is this right here, the fucking crane.
Yeah.
But they could add that to any map, anytime, any location. You can have a crane anywhere, So it's like,
True.
I don't know.
True.
There's parts
But
of
no,
it kind of look like Terminal. This could be a different map entirely. Who knows? But
just saying though, like
it looks
instantly
phenomenal.
before I thought about it, like I just immediately, as soon as I seen it, I just immediately got Shoreline like in my head, like without even thinking about it.
Yeah, it does have a
just felt
Shoreline
like
vibe
Shoreline.
to it, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, it looks phenomenal too. I mean, it's gorgeous. I love all the
Yeah.
pictures they've put out. Definitely looking forward to checking it out and getting a chance to play on it.
Yep.
And then we have stats from Labyrinth. This is pretty cool. The total amount of players that took the shady shady contractor task, 669,669. I just thought that was hilarious.
That is
669,
kind of funny.
669. For the achievement stuff, 65% of the community got the base achievement, and 35% of the community got the Dungeon Master one.
Doesn't that seem kind of high?
35%? It does.
Well, the 65 especially.
Hold on. Labyrinth in-game. Okay, these are the right ones.
It seems high, and other numbers seem low. Like only 200,000 people died to traps out of like 6 million people being in there, or 5.5 million people being in there.
5.5 million people. Average raid time in the Labyrinth was 14 minutes. That's kind of long too. Are players getting better, or are they just playing more ratty? Are we seeing more rat play?
Well,
or
a lot of people played ratty.
How many of those people actually even got into Labyrinth trying to get there? You know what I mean? That's well,
Right.
no, because that says total raids into the
Yeah,
labyrinth.
that's
Yeah, never
inside. Yeah,
mind.
yeah,
That's
yeah.
5.5. Yeah,
But that's
it's
also when you
two and a
first
half
spawn in
survived and
Labyrinth.
extracted. Yeah,
It's
in the
especially on
room
PvP.
looking for the
You
key.
got you got your first few minutes trying to find the key, and knowing that there's other people out there too. A lot of people took their time waiting to hear shots. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
And
before they
wait for
even
someone
unlock the
else to.
door. Right.
Yeah. So a lot of people would just chill and wait.
That's
But it
fair.
just some of those. I guess what really surprises me is the amount of people who got the achievements and the amount of people who died to traps, thinking that the achievements number is high and the trap number is low.
Yeah, it does seem high. So out of the 669,669 people that accepted the shady contractor task, 65% of those players got the base task line done.
Yeah, that's crazy.
That is crazy. And then 35% went and got dungeon master, which I that's kind of high too,
That's
honestly.
still kind of high. Yeah, that's still kind of high.
Was this
Because
event too
usually, like,
easy?
usually for
Okay,
Kappa, I
well,
think
TV
only like
timeout. A lot of these players were going in 5-mans.
true,
Going in and taking up all the slots, just having to kill what they
true.
could. If their buddy dies, no big deal, because
Yeah,
the other 4 are on
yeah,
your team still too.
that
A
makes sense.
lot
And
of
you have
5-man groups. Everything I saw on
and you
Twitch and
have
YouTube was
you have other people going in and fighting. Like a lot of people would wait, let the people go in and fight, kill a Tegila, and then they would
just go in and get their task stuff.
third
And
team them. You know what I mean? Yeah, they would just
yeah,
hop in and just kill them afterwards. So
yeah.
it's like there was always someone surviving. And on the trap thing, I guess maybe that means the like original traps like in your key room. Maybe that's not counting like the tripwires and stuff like all throughout Labyrinth. Maybe that's just like the start of the raid, people that died.
Maybe.
That would make more sense.
I mean, it gives you enough time when it clicks. You can run. And I think, I don't know. If I'm being honest, I don't know.
Yeah,
That does seem pretty low, though. I will give you that. For
yeah,
5.5 million motherfuckers in there. Well, okay.
yeah.
5.5 raids, 5.5 million raids. We had 700,000 players in it, roughly. We'll say 670,000 players in it. So 5.5 million total raids. So of the 700,000, a third of them died to, or a quarter of them died to traps. That's probably accurate. Let's go. Let's look at the next set of stats. Okay, 2 million people alone died to Tegila. 340,000 died to Vengeful Killa. 700. So another mill died to guards and Killa. So yeah, there's all your deaths. We only killed Shadow of Tegila 1.2 million times. But those are the stats. Take what you want from that for what you will. I think the second page is a little more interesting. Just the amount of times that we killed Tegila versus the amount of times we died to Tegila. We suck,
Well, does
boys.
it
He
mention if
ratioed
this
us.
is PvP and PvE
I
combined, or is
assume
this?
this is PvP. It doesn't state. I could check.
I didn't see anywhere where it said like specific.
It does not say what that is. It's probably just PvP. Doesn't say though. But pretty cool. We got ratioed by
Yeah,
Tegila.
awesome event.
We outkilled Killa a chunk. He ain't got nothing on us. Tegila's the monster.
Yeah, Killa was pretty easy. It was
He
Tegila
was,
that was
yeah.
insane.
Yeah. We killed 12 million guards. Almost
Yeah, that
13.
makes sense.
That's a lot. But when
I
they
had
spawn
several
3 and
raids
4
where
at a
I killed like
time, yeah.
I was gonna say I had several raids where I killed like 15 to 20 guards.
Right, yeah, it'd get out of hand. Okay, after that, we've got a new NIKILEAK to take a look at. I'm going to start that video now. It's 28 seconds. Oh. Oh, little RPG action there.
That's cool. Actually, seeing the
All right,
RPG in
so
game. That's pretty cool.
that's what I was getting to say. I think. Well, here's the 10-hour fucking alarm being put together, and then we go into them working on. I'd assume this is battle pass stuff that we've already got to see because
Yeah.
this is one of the rigs that they unlocked for us. And then there's something here. It looks like maybe audio and like how sound travels, just like a diagram probably, or maybe line of sight and stuff like
You
that.
got
I
dead
don't
people
know.
like laying down in certain areas, and then people
Yeah.
standing up. You got a dead person there, and then inside that other building, there's a body laying, and it's just
Maybe they're talking about like if this thing dies here, what's the path of travel?
Or it could be
I don't
a
know.
movie
Maybe they're just
scene. It
working
could be
on
something
stuff.
they're planning on. Like this is something like first raw like scene thing for a movie.
That's
Yeah.
very true too. That is very true. They could be working out ideas for scene layout and everything else. And then we get a little
That's
PKP
big right
action.
there.
Bop, bop,
Suppressor.
bop, bop, bop.
A
Yeah,
lot of
that's cool as
people.
shit. Yeah, the
A lot of people
suppressor
are
on
waiting
it.
for suppressors for the PKP, PKM, the RPD, because they have barrels that have, threading for an attachment for a suppressor. We just don't have any suppressors in game, and that would be nice.
That it would. And then we see, okay, so this is either terminal access, which kind of fits, fleshing it out and all that kind of stuff, and who knows when this was actually recorded or posted or anything like, or not posted, but recorded or given to be used for footage, whatever. This could be terminal. This could be a new arena map. This could be, yeah, that'd probably be about it. I would say it's either terminal or the new arena map. And to me, this looks and feels like terminal, just because of the heavy barricades and stuff like that. The iron gates out front that can be opened into the carpool, and then everything else. So or motor pool, sorry. And then you get to see a live RPG being fired.
Right, probably something for
Kind of
sound.
interesting. Yeah, that's true. Probably recording the sound it makes. That's accurate,
And
I'd say.
this is
And then
cool.
you see the RPG. Yeah, you see the RPG being in the background here, in screen on game.
Well, what's
and then you're
different
surprised
is
with the
that doesn't look like an RPG. That looks like a, what do they call those? The RPG is what the
Oh, you're right.
yeah,
It's yeah, she's holding an RPG.
the
This is a
mortar, right? Is that a mortar?
Maybe it might be just a different type of RPG. Let's see what the next clip shows. I don't remember. It might be mortar, dude. If you can take in mortars, that would be insane. Not to skip over that stuff, I guess. I have no idea what's going on here. Some sort of color shading and balancing, I'd imagine. Maybe working on just textures. And then this looks like an
Arena map, yeah.
Yeah. This might be Iceberg. This might be a new iteration or something else they're working on entirely different. It's hard to tell. And then hopefully a Ground Zero expansion. Probably not a Ground Zero expansion.
Yeah, definitely looks Ground Zero-ish or Streets-ish.
I could see some work being done on Streets for sure.
Well, Streets is supposed to have 2 more expansions, and that they went back and forth on a couple times, so.
That's true.
Over by the Academy School where you fight Calante, that's
Caban or Calante,
that's an expansion spot over there. Nikita already showed it before, showed the buildings and stuff right through there.
Yeah. It's so hard to tell. Yeah, and that's the other thing too. What I was trying to spit out is we don't know how far back ago they recorded some of this stuff too. So a lot of it's speculative.
Right.
We just kind of guess and prod, and hopefully when we see something come to fruition, we're like, oh, hey, it's the thing from the dev series, the NIKILEAKs.
Yeah.
Okay.
Now see,
it's an RPG of some sort. This is what dude had in hand.
Yeah, this is definitely what he had in hand, but it does not look like an RPG.
It doesn't look like an RPG. Look at that sight line. Holy shit, that's so rough. He is on interchange though.
Yeah.
Firing an RPG.
Now,
let me go back to it. Okay.
Very, very bad sights, which is expected.
Yeah, absolutely.
But it does cause a pretty big explosion once it hits whatever he's aiming at. You can see it.
Yeah,
there.
Look at that.
Yeah.
It just whites out the area.
Never we got a
or wait. Yeah, that's just a huge explosion.
PPSH.
Yeah.
Is it jamming? Is that what they're doing? No, that was just
maybe.
That was just a bullet coming out, right?
That was just firing a shot. Yeah. Drum mag's not new. Could be just a sound recording.
Maybe, yeah.
Yeah. And then again, there's the 10 hours of fucking reserve
Right.
alarms back to the front of it. Yeah, so another NIKILEAK, some pretty cool stuff. Hopefully we get to see some of these things like show up in game, and it's always fun when the things you've speculated it on and just kind of like guessed around for could be like Adam and I have been doing this, for quite a while, just like looking at these dev series and like trying to determine what it is and what it could be. And it's always nice when something comes out and it's like, oh, hey, we recognize that because, from this, like we got a little teaser of it.
Okay, just
So that's always fun.
just
And
to
sometimes
put this out
it's
here
just
real
old
quick.
stuff.
I just looked up some Russian RPGs. That's what these are. These are Russian RPGs. They don't look like American. Like they don't look like the RPG 7. They don't look like the RPGs you're used to seeing. They look like what these guys are holding. It is
Makes sense.
RPG 75, RPG 30. Those are just some of the ones that look extremely similar to what that guy was holding. So they are RPGs. They're just different. They're Russian variants.
Oh, you know what? Actually, from a previous dev series, I think last week or the week before, remember how we were like, it's banded and it's got like weird sights on it, and we thought it might have been a mortar?
Yeah.
And that guy came in and was like, hey, it's this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
And there it is. There's the band and everything on it. You can see it there.
Yep. Yeah, because it even says
Pretty cool.
one of the main differences, the Russian RPGs contain everything encapsulated in a tube, while other ones have the actual the rocket head exposed.
Exposed, yeah.
While
you just load it from the
the
front.
Russian ones do not. They are still the same projectile. It's just encapsulated in the Russian ones.
Okay. Interesting.
Yeah.
And then we have some pretty cool news, some pretty big container news anyways. We've got the new secure container Theta. It is a 10 slot, I believe. Wait, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. Yeah, 10 slot. 8 of it is in a 4x2 grid, and then a 2x1 grid after that.
Yeah.
So it can hold your Grizzly. It can hold your Surf kit.
Yeah, it can hold.
Still have space. It can
hold pretty much anything.
It's better than the Gamma.
Yeah, it can hold pretty much anything that the Gamma can. Even the Kappa. Even the Kappa.
Docks case off to the side, and yeah. Size wise, it's solid. I think it's a good case. So it's a task line you have to do to get it. It can be obtained as a quest reward from the task between 2 fires, or decisions, or postponed reward. In quotations, and this does matter, you are required to have Escape from Tarkov Arena to be able to unlock the Theta container, but you can unlock the Theta container, or you can unlock Arena access, 3 days of Arena access with the task Balancing Part 1.
Yeah.
So what you do is go do Balancing Part 1, do not turn the task in yet, and then get everything caught up to where you need to go into Arena to get the Theta container, and then turn Balancing in, get your 3 days access, then go do your ref shit, and then unlock the Theta container.
Save your Arena.
That may not be step for step perfectly accurate. That's just off the top of my head from what I remember. What we were talking about a little bit ago.
Basically, you save the Arena portion of the task line for last. Use your 3-day access for your last step.
You can definitely get it done in the 3
you
day
can
time,
you can
for sure.
You can 100% get that without ever purchasing Arena. That's why they put it in the game, to give you access. People who don't have Arena, give them a way to actually get it.
Yeah.
Battlestate are really good about giving everybody ways to obtain things.
A fair chance to get the stuff.
Yeah. So even though they want you to buy Arena, they want you to play Arena, they want to, make it where you get things for playing Arena, they still give regular Tarkov players a way to get these things.
And some of those players who just might be on the fence about Arena get the 3 day access, check it out, and end up buying the game.
Yeah.
So it's a win-win. But yeah, you can absolutely get the secure container Theta with your 3 day access to Arena. Just save it for last, like Adam was saying. Balancing Part 1 is what will unlock it.
Well, and just to put this out there, that's why rewards in Arena are so OP, is because they want that to be a driving a reason for people to play Arena, a reason for people to buy Arena, because there is a benefit to playing Arena and also playing Escape from Tarkov. You get good rewards in Escape from Tarkov. So yeah, it is OP, but that's the reason it's OP. That's their way to get people to buy Arena.
Yeah. Absolutely. Moving on from that, we have the potentially the best Oblivion meme, in my opinion.
Yeah, yeah, it was a good one.
Yeah, this is solid. I'm gonna turn the
For
volume
people
up
who
just
don't
a little bit
know,
because it's worth it.
Oblivion got remade. A lot of people are calling it a remaster. It's not a remaster. It is a complete remake of Oblivion, which is better than a remaster because a remaster usually just overhauls visuals. The whole game is completely redone in a whole new engine. This is a whole new
built from the
remake.
ground up.
Yeah, this is a whole new game.
Yeah.
And it's Oblivion though.
Same game.
Yeah.
Remade. It is Oblivion, 100%. Same bugs, same glitches, same bullshit, same exploits.
Menu screen, same,
Just
bad design choices.
Modern standards.
Yeah, everything is exactly how it was, which is awesome. I'm glad they did it that way.
Yeah, I am too. And they just brought it to modern, and it looks stunning. It looks phenomenal. Definitely go check it out, play it, especially late wipe Tarkov. Not a lot going on, not a lot to do. Now's a good time to check out some new games.
I know both of us are interested in playing it, but we both also know that that's a game that you can sink hundreds and hundreds of hours into, and it's just so hard to actually set aside that many hours to play something else. Very hard.
And my big issue is I know when I start it, I'm not going to want to do anything but play Oblivion. So it's like, it's a double-edged sword.
It's a great game, but
it's gorgeous. I want to play it. I love the original, and I'm excited to play this.
I plan on playing it eventually, just not right now.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. But yeah, so here's the Oblivion meme by BSG.
Stop right there, criminal scum. Nobody breaks the law on my watch.
Стрёмное местечко.
That's so good, man.
It's hilarious. I love it.
And if anybody knows,
phenomenal.
like, even if you haven't played Oblivion, even if you've played Skyrim, everyone's played Skyrim. Even if you've played Skyrim, you know about the sweet rolls. You know about, the loot you pick up in those kind of games. So it's just, and you know about the stop criminal scum.
Getting run up on by the guard. Yeah.
Like, you
have violated the law.
Yeah, you know how this goes. So it's just so cool how.
Pretty funny stuff, though. I just wanted to show you guys that.
Yeah.
I know a lot of people don't check the Twitter, so it's like, you got to put that out there, right?
It's so cool how they used Kalante and him being a cop, and it's such a good meme.
Here's some more looks at the PKP. Mostly just the suppressor on it. I think there is a foregrip, and I can't recall if we were able to put foregrips on the PKP before.
Yeah, you can.
I thought so. I don't use LMGs too often, so I'm always a little like, can you?
Not very many though. You can only put a certain amount. So I'm hoping this is like a new adapter where you can put like everyone on there.
I see it looks at least like a two-sided rail. So you got like your right side and the bottom rail for sure. Might even have a rail on the left side, which would be handy. And then it is suppressed. We get to see that again, so that's good.
Yeah, they've been teasing suppressors for all the big LMGs for a while, so be happy to finally see them.
And then there's some AK shooting, it looks like.
Yeah, it looks like an AK-74U.
Outside of that, I don't see anything new, anything crazy.
There's
nothing to be like, oh, hey, here's
burnt
this
down, like, tore up building. Maybe we're getting those for a hideout.
Oh, that'd be cool. I'd like to be able to sit on them.
Look like your hideout's on fire and tore up. Yeah.
But yeah. I think the main thing there's the PKP suppressor, potentially the rail. I'm not too familiar with LMG.
I would assume this is something they're shooting for like a live video, maybe something for a Rizzy series or something.
That's true. It very well could be. That would make a lot of sense. As usual, any suggestions, ideas, bugs, anything that you want to see fixed in Tarkov, go to tarkov.community. Check and see if there's a thread already talking about the problem you're having. If not, please post all the issues, all the bugs, anything you run into. It's a really useful tool for BSG to quickly go in, see what the community is disliking, see what the community is having issues with, see what the bugs that are affecting the most people are, and just really get to work on fixing things. And they've already said multiple times, we've stated it too, they have been doing nothing this year but patching, optimizing, and just polishing up this game. So the more we report and give them information on, the faster they can get those things fixed.
They read it all too. They read it all. Like, it doesn't matter.
Yeah, they absolutely do.
Everything that you put on there is being taken into consideration. Like, so
this one idiot got -10 downvotes on one of his posts, and it was still planned, and they were working on doing
Yeah,
it.
yeah.
Um,
Which, just to talk about that real
sorry,
quick.
no, it was fixed.
Yeah,
It was
it was
fixed.
already fixed.
So
that was
yeah,
the footstep
cultists,
issue.
yeah, cultists, Bird Eye and
Partisan.
they were always supposed to have silent footsteps. It was a bug that had caused the issue, and it is now fixed and resolved. So the 3 scary boys that are supposed to be spooky will continue to be spooky and quiet.
And
So that's cool.
And just to put this out there, Ryan was the one who submitted that, and people did not like the idea of cultists and other bosses having no footsteps. I understand
silent
it.
Footsteps, yeah.
I get it. Like, I've seen so many people complain, like, no matter what, people shouldn't have silent footsteps because it's unreal. Like, everybody has footsteps in real life. It makes cultists 10 times better. Not knowing where they are, where they can pop up, if they're running up on you, is so much better than just instantly knowing where they're at, and every time they make a move, you know exactly where they are.
Having a cultist running up behind you before, well, and even now that their footsteps are fixed, silent cultists running behind you, you don't know they're there until they're right behind you. And even then, it's like you're either stabbed or they whispered something.
Bird Eye,
it's like, oh shit.
Yeah.
You know?
Bird Eye and Partisan, I am not as much, like, worried about them. Because there are times where it's like frustrating with them, because it's like, you've killed Big Pipe and Knight, Bird Eye's left, so you're expecting him. It feels kind of easy that you've killed them and now you're not going to be able to have any idea where Bird Eye is. It does suck sometimes, but with Cultist, I feel like that's just, it has to be that way with Cultist. And the fact that so many
Partisan is Dennis, yes. If he's not Dennis, no. That's my thought on that.
Yeah, Partisan,
if he's the guy from the books, cool. That makes sense because he's better than Cultists. That's how the book portrayed him. That's what they said he was. I can understand it then.
Well,
because Cultists are the epitome, and if he's better, sure.
That's what I was going to get into. The reason I'm
then get rid of
okay with it with Cultists is because Cultists are 100% avoidable. If you do not want to fight Cultists, there are ways to just never see them. Easy ways. You have a certain time that you can avoid the maps. If you don't go in at those times, you'll never see cultists. You have certain areas. With the other guys,
exactly, yeah.
With Partisan and Bird Eye, you don't get that option to avoid them. They can be anywhere at any time. So that's the only reason why I'm kind of like, like I get it. They're unavoidable. But with cultists, though, you have a way to, if you don't like the silent footstep thing, you have a way to get away from it. With the other guys, you don't. But I'm not against it. I'm just not as worried about it as, I'm 100% for it with cultists. With those guys, I can have it or
cultists
take it or leave it. Yeah. But I
like
get
I
why
said,
people
the only
get
way
upset.
that I'm okay with Partisan doing it is if he is portrayed as Dennis. If he is Dennis, right? Like that makes sense then, at least lore-wise. And if not, I think him and Bird Eye should both have at least audible footsteps. They don't have to be as loud.
Yeah,
they don't have to
make
be
them very, very quiet.
Especially if Bird Eye's like a skilled professional tracker who hunts things down and people down, and he's like, he's really good at his job, sure. But there should be some sort of audible step to it, not just completely silent. I think.
I'm okay with it though. Like I said, I'm not going to worry about it.
Yeah, it doesn't bother me one way or another.
Yeah, I'm not going to be like asking them to change it
first, anyways. Most of the time.
Yeah.
Depending on where I run into him at. Sometimes he's last, but it's not too often.
Well, like the other day on my hardcore account, I was going to extract. I'm just going to extract over old gas, and I instantly bump right into Big Pipe. Without seeing anybody else, I run into Big Pipe. I kill him, and then Knight comes up. I kill him, and then I only have like 2 minutes left in raid. I'm trying to decide where to go, what to do. I want to stay and fight, but at the same time, it's like I have to get out to extract, and it's like it just annoyed me because I'm like, I have no idea if he's near me, if he's somewhere way far away from me. I don't know if I should stay and fight, if I should try to leave. It just one of those situations. It's like I have no information, and I hate when you have no information and you have no idea what to do. Tarkov's like that sometimes, but usually you can avoid those situations. This was just annoying because I had no way to know what move to make.
Yeah, no, completely understandable, and it's fair.
But I'm still okay with it. You know what I mean? I still got to extract. I still just took my chance and I just ran to extract. I was fine,
Yes, and I mean, it does pay off to take the chance sometimes.
Yeah.
And I get it. Sometimes you're just like, shit, what do I do? What do I do? And there's been times I've been locked down too. It's just like, you just don't know where they are. Like it's
Yeah, you have no information. You don't know if they're near you, if they're
Right.
posted up somewhere wanting to
and
snipe
it is
you.
frustrating. I will admit
Yeah,
that it is.
yeah.
But I like that aspect of the game. I like that there's sides of the game that are still an absolute wonder to me that are like, I just don't know what to do here. I'm like, I feel, I start to get that like nervousness back
Yeah.
where it's like, oh shit.
Yeah, and that's why
and you gotta think on the fly. And
that's
it's
why
like,
I'm not
it's kinda
against
fun.
it. I'm not.
But I get it. Not everybody's enjoys
Yeah.
that, and that's
Well,
okay.
like that raid, I had such a good raid. I got a couple task missions done. I'm playing hardcore anyway, so everything's already turned up. You know what I mean? And it's like that's the only reason it bugged me is
Yeah.
because I had such a good raid, and I'm like, I would be so mad if I just try to go to extract and Bird Eye's just sitting up somewhere where I can't see him or hear him or anything, and he just snipes me. One tap, I'm dead. It's just there was no play for me in that situation, no safe play, and I just would I would be okay with him having a little bit of a footstep so I could at least get an idea of where he was. You know what I mean? Like, it doesn't have to show me exactly where he's at. It doesn't have to. I just wondered if he was alive, if he was near me. But at the same time, I'm okay with it being like that because, yeah, it sucks, but it's Tarkov too, So I see it from both sides. I'm not going to complain about it. I'm not going to ask them to change it, but I understand why some people do.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Yeah. It is a reasonable thing.
Yeah.
I think so. Yeah.
But with cultists, no way. They should be silent.
No, yeah, they always 100%. They shouldn't have light colored pants on. They should be as dark as it is out night. Like they should just be hard as they can.
Bring
be. Like, I want
cultists
them
back.
rock solid.
Make cultists scary again. Get a hat or a shirt that says that
sure.
on it. Start wearing it.
Absolutely. Yeah. All right. We hope you enjoyed this episode of Talking Tarkov. Like and comment below your thoughts on Silent Footsteps on Partisan and Bird Eye. Be sure to subscribe to the channel. It helps us out a lot. Thanks for watching. We'll catch you next week. See ya.